Welcome to another video with Joseph Manifesting. In today's video, we are going to talk about, do you take action to manifest an SP? There's a lot of talk of whether or not you should or you shouldn't. In fact, some people die by these ideas. And my answer is, I think it depends. Now, when I am saying I'm in a loving relationship, or I'm filling myself into a loving relationship, or I'm feeling as though I am now loved or cared about, even though I may not see any outside proof to my internal claim, which is how it happens for everybody, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't be manifesting it. Naturally, what will start happening to me is I'll start having ideas and hunches. I'll start doing things like maybe cleaning my room. The second time I was manifesting my wife, I was in Illinois actually. And I started packing up my room after feeling the love and the appreciation of that relationship that I gave to myself. I started packing up my room, and because I knew that it was done and that I was going to go home and have this relationship with my wife, even though the outside didn't prove that. And I didn't hear anything to outside to make me feel as though that was the case. I just knew that because I felt it with so much clarity and I felt it so deeply that it was done. And I was inspired to pack my bags. The funny thing was I couldn't even leave for like another week and a half. I still had a bunch of insurance stuff I had to handle and collecting checks and such. But I felt inspired to take that action because I put myself in that state. Now, here's the thing to remember. That state has the means and the how already tied up in it. And so this is why I don't like the idea of preconceived notions of whether or not I should or should not do something, is because the state has the how and the what needs to happen on both sides in order for this to happen. How could I possibly understand or know the series of events that needs to happen? Ask yourself, whenever you manifested something, was it not 100% of the time always exciting or unknown to you? Was it not unexpected every single time? If you needed to take action, did you not take action? Did not everything flow from you occupying that state, knowing that it was done? If you manifested anything, the answer to that would be yes. Of course, it was unknown. You didn't know how it happened. And that's the fun thing about manifestation, is that a lot of the times it seems very natural, and there was no thinking that you did in order for it to come to fruition. All you did was occupy the state and feel as though you had that thing, or you were confident that it was that way. You may have even forgot about it. And then a series of events happened, and then that manifestation outpictured itself. So then why would I have a preconceived notion of how things should or shouldn't go? What I want is to be in a loving relationship. So whether that means that I take action or someone else takes action, it's really, it's a nuance. It makes no difference to me whatsoever. And I trust that most of you feel that exact same way. So the second time I manifested my wife, I did take some action. I shot a text after I knew I was in the Sabbath and it was done. I shot a text. I didn't get the outcome that I thought I was going to get. But the interesting thing I noticed is that I really didn't care. And the reason why I didn't care is because subconsciously I felt as though I was in a loving relationship and it was done, that nothing outside of me could sway me to thinking any other way. And so this is the point behind manifestation. It's to give it to ourselves, is to feel as though we're in a loving relationship now, is to feel as though everything is the way we want it to be now. And this is a feeling thing. I really want to emphasize that. It is a feeling thing. We don't want to make this a mind thing as much as possible. All we want to do with the mind is make sure that we're conscious of what's happening in our mind and we're directing our thinking. We're not allowing ourselves to think on things that don't serve us or things that we don't want. And the reason why is because if you allow yourself to dwell on thoughts, you will put yourself into a mood or feeling. This is what causes what you don't want. It's not the thoughts. People affirm until they're blue in the face that their life is magical and nothing changes because they don't accept or feel those thoughts to be true. So you see here, the key is feeling or acceptance of the affirmation. That's the key. Now, I'm a big fan of simply asking, what would the feeling be like? And the reason why is 99% of problems in manifesting is done because we do too much mind activity. You'll notice as you're affirming, I'm loved, this person loves me, all of a sudden the mind, because you're making it such a mind thing and the focus is on the mind, it's then thinking of reasons why it's not true. It's then thinking of these problems. It's thinking of past experiences. It's thinking of your current situation and how you could possibly get there. When it's made a mind thing, it just creates a big cluster, of thinking that isn't ideal for you. And so it is important to manage the mind to make sure that you're controlling what you allow to be in there. So in that way, it doesn't put you in an unideal mood, but make it a feeling thing as much as possible. And I'm going to touch briefly on this. I'm not going to go too much in this because Neville talks about it often. But the first thing we want to do when we catch ourselves in a state that doesn't serve us, let's just say overthinking's happening. Let's say you have a bunch of energy, emotion that arises in the body. What typically most people will do is just try to affirm over it, pretend like they're not feeling that, force themselves to think things. And this creates a bunch of inner turmoil and overthinking. So Neville says in one of his lectures that all we need to do is remove our attention from what we don't want and all the energy associated with that state. Become still, remove our attention away from what we don't want and all the energy you're feeling in your body that is relevant to that state or is representing that state, and place our attention on what we do want. And so this is a key while manifesting. It's not to fight with what we're saying to ourselves. It's not to force ourselves to be into a certain state. The first step is to realize that if I continue to participate in this, I'm going to stay in this state. And the more that I fight it, the more I'll stay in that state. So the only thing I really can do is I can rise in consciousness. Now, you may find it helpful to close your eyes and to be aware of the space that's around you, right? Your body's here, but around me, there's a room and there's space between myself and these walls. So being aware of the space that's around my body sounds crazy. You're like, well, why would that work? Because when you think of things, it fills your mind with things. When you think of nothing, it fills your mind with nothing. When you're aware of silence, when you're aware of space, when you're aware of your breath, these aren't really things. And so it stops the mind from thinking and filling it and cluttering it with more stuff. So once we are aware of the space that's around the room, and you do this for just a little bit of time, or you say, I am to myself, or whatever it is that clears your mind, you have now detached yourself from that state, the energy that's involved in that state, the thinking that's involved with that state. And now you're aware of just being the awareness. And now you can place your attention on what would the feeling be like if I now had the most amazing relationship. And it's very easy to feel as though you now are, because again, your mind isn't filled with personality stuff. When you tried creating from a personality where your mind's filled with stuff and you're identified with all this stuff, it's hard. When you're not identified with any of this, you're identified as the awareness or the void or the consciousness, you can feel yourself to be whatever you want to be. And in fact, it's very easy. It'll happen for me in about 15 seconds. And I can feel overwhelmed by the love and the appreciation of the state. That's all we want to do. So back to the point of this video, I would take out of the equation whether or not you should take action, you shouldn't take action. First off, this is implying the middle, right? We don't worry about the middle because taking action implies that you're not in your end state yet. Secondly, how it happens really isn't your business. All you want to happen is to be in a loving relationship. You go to the end, you're now in a loving relationship. So a series of events may be that you take action and maybe that you don't take action. All I'm saying is though is that's irrelevant. In your mind, let go of any preconceived notions of how things need to happen. This is meddling with the middle. You're in a loving relationship now. Your only goal is to feel as though you're in a loving relationship now and let everything flow, knowing that your feeling creates the state. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do like, subscribe, share. All of my videos are on Neville Goddard, revision, manifesting my wife, manifesting my Porsche, manifesting my dream job, my business. Thanks so much for watching.